Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and today we're going to be taking a look at Falkner and Noctowl and their Variety Scout. I don't know why they're dropping so many banners and content at the beginning of the month, but oh well, I guess. Fair enough, though. Or Cynthia, Thunderbolt Red, they've left, as well as Iono, so whatever. Either way, so Variety Falkner and Noctowl, they'll be dropping tomorrow on February 5th. And leaving on February 19th, exactly 2 weeks to pull this character. A little bit short, but that's generally the case for these Variety Scout characters, and of course that is also the day that Xenia Suit Gladion arrives, so interesting. And just giving you a little bit of a, I guess, rating for this guy before we start. He looks good. This guy actually looks really solid, especially for being a variety character. I would say probably on the probably on the same level as, like, you know, Variety Thornton. You could probably say Noland as well. And if you want to just go back and look at some other, like, Variety Scout characters, which I don't think is actually in here, so we'll have to go back and manually do that. I think the last ones were like the Eevees, right? I'm pretty sure anyway. Not really their level because they're kind of iffy, but definitely I'd say relatively similar to like Thornton and Noland, and you could probably say up to similar specs as like the Team Rocket Variety Scout trio, or quad. I'm not really counting Giovanni. Anyway, whatever. So, looking at Falkner here, he is a support character, flying type with the Tech EX role. Obviously, now we actually have a use somewhat for the EX roles of supports that's not like strikers for rebuff and all of that stuff, and field and sprint, obviously. You know, Tech EX strikers actually have a purpose with the battle rally. Is it worth it? Probably not, but you can opt to do it for that very reason, and I don't really know. I could say Falkner would be a really good character in the battle rally, honestly, except against like battle challenges, but whatever. So again, there's all of his specs and whatnot. Looking at his stats, 697 health, 283 defense, and 308 special defense, 312 speed, very decent stats all around, especially with the EX, buffing those to around or over 300, and the HP is pretty decent as well. So, very nice. Well, that's level 150. 6-star EX, obviously, you know, definitely going up 300 on all the stats, and then nearly, 800 health? Pretty good. Looking at his moves, he has Air Cutter here, which is not a great move in itself, but it can be very solid via some passive skills he has. He's got his potions for healing, very nice as well, just a good healing ability. We can still fly the trainer move, which applies gauge acceleration and raises all allies' defenses by 2. We're getting a lot of characters for some reason that are actually able to buff this many defenses. I think the free-to-play player and Alchemy can do it. The Lodge Wally can do it, as well as Palatine's Victor. All supports. I don't know why they're giving us this ability. I guess defensive bulk is now more useful for the battle rally. I don't know. I guess. And then his buddy move, Dreamlike Hypnosis, 2-gauge move, hits all enemies, and the activation condition is when the move hits, any ally's attack move hits a total of 5 times while the move is deactivated, and the deactivation condition is when the move is used. This is like Neo Champion Serena and Kalem's buddy move condition, except it is obviously 5 attacks instead of 10, which is far more manageable, especially because Air Cutter hits 3 opponents, or all opponents rather, so it's going to be very good with that as well. -3 on your count for the buddy move. And what it does is it never misses, leaves all opposing sync pairs flinching, confused, or trapped, puts all opposing sync pairs to sleep, and raises one of the following stats of all allied sync pairs by 1, which is every single stat besides crit. So, despite its limited usage of 5 times total, he does obviously do AoE sleep, which is good. He gives all enemies a random status interference, or status change, whatever, with trap, confusion, or flinching. Obviously, confusion or trap probably better for long term, but I guess flinching can be useful for like Harry, activating Harry, or like flinch hitter, or whatever it may be, I guess. And then obviously the the random stat boost could be useful, but generally, I mean, it's going to be a little bit more niche, especially with how often this move is activated. Especially if you are already done like supporting and buffing characters and whatnot, then there's a good chance this will be activated every other turn, because you'll be using Air Cutter and then your allies' move, and if you have allies who hit multiple enemies, you may even be able to activate this move pretty much every turn, but it's unlikely that it'll be able to actually, you know, function, right? You'll be able to get those 5 attacks in every turn, or 5 hits in, rather, but obviously you have to deal with the fact that deactivation condition and activation condition and having the move activate and deactivate, it doesn't end up working like every single turn, but every other turn you can definitely, you know, get that working. Going to his passives, he's got Team Wide Awake, preventing allies from falling asleep. Not really the best ability, but I mean, it's decent enough. And then use status, Pokemon move, team attack, and team special attack down 9, lowering all enemy attack and special attack when the user's Pokemon uses a status move. So not only is he buffing stats, putting enemies asleep, applying a status change, also never missing, of course, he is able to do special attack and attack debuffing on the enemy. Very, very solid stuff as well as buffing, of course, defenses and applying healing with potion. This guy's very, very solid on the defensive side for your whole allies, or your whole team. And I guess Air Cutter for existing, pretty much just activate Dreamlike Hypnosis, doing the -3 attack count for this move right here. Very, very nice. For a base kit, I would say this is decent enough, right? I mean, it's not like I'm not gonna say it's like absurd, because obviously we have characters like Serena or Cygnus Osiris or whoever else, and maybe they can do like AoE sleep or something like that, but Falkner's definitely good because he's got the support ability of it as well. He's able to actually be a support character doing it. And even if, like, for some reason the enemies get through, obviously, like, your sleep and whatnot, you can actually have good defensive bulk and make sure your team's actually able to survive because you're debuffing attack and special attack and buffing defenses, meaning this guy's defensive prowess for himself and his whole team is very, very solid. Very, very solid. Probably not... Well, definitely not up to like the same level as Neo Champion Blue with how much he can debuff and buff stats, and obviously his level of healing. But Falkner having that bit of interference here and being able to make it so enemies can't do damage is going to be really, really useful anyway. But just for a 1 out of 5 kit, I wouldn't say he's too absurd because he does obviously lack a lot of prowess as a support. He's good with his debuffing and he's good with putting the sleep and whatnot, but like you are pretty much relying on putting him with partners that can raise their offensive stats and crit stats and all of that stuff perfectly fine by themselves. That is probably the one issue with this guy, is that he's not able to buff crit really at all. He's not able to buff attack or special attack at all consistently or by any like relevant amount really. This is his only method of buffing attack and special attack. So he is a purely defensive support with obviously the good sleep and status condition or status change utility, right? But you just do got to consider when it comes to actually buffing offensive stats and offensive abilities, he is pretty much at nothing. He can't really do that pretty much at all. But again, everything else is still a plus. Going into the grid, he's got pretty much nothing at 1 out of 5. 2 out of 5 gets Team Sync Regen, potion stuff. Fast Track's not really that great. Revenge Boost is decent. Nothing crazy, but I mean, it's something. Quick Cure to remove status changes. Train with NPR. I guess Ghost Guard. You could run Ghost Guard if you really need to. I don't really see too much relevance in it, but I mean, it is obviously a thing. And then Natural Remedy, of course, removing status conditions. Quick Cure and Natural Remedy, pretty basic abilities, removing status conditions and status changes the first time they are inflicted, of course. Team Sync Regen and the potion stuff is probably the most useful stuff you can pick up. Obviously, Train to Move as well, giving you max defenses and another use of Gauge Acceleration is going to be pretty solid as well, especially combined with his already decent, quite good speed stat. But obviously, general just potion stuff is going to be more useful, and then Team Sync Regen for better healing ability, because not only are you able to now debuff attack and special attack of enemies, and buff ally defenses to a pretty good degree, and prevent enemy attacking, for the most part, with Dreamlike Hypnosis, you also have the ability to now heal allies with potions, and of course, Team Sync Regen for gradual healing, meaning you don't need to waste your potions all that much, so very, very nice. But, of course, it's not like a crazy 2 out of 5 ability. Going to 3 out of 5, of course, where everything is going to be pretty much naturally better. More potion stuff for the Skyla grid look. Hit opponent interference, HP recovery 9, hit team attack up 9, hit team special attack up 9, adrenaline 1, staggering 3 on air cutter and endurance. This is where his grid gets a lot better, because now pretty much remove what I said about him being unable to buff any like offensive prowess. You are now able to buff attack and special attack pretty consistently when using your attack move with Air Cutter. Very, very good, right? Just being able to finally buff these stats pretty much on demand, right? And especially, obviously, being both attack and special attack, if you do want to pick them up on the grid, could be good for characters like Lance, who need both the offenses for his buffs. So, yeah. Adrenaline, just pretty much if you don't want to run it as a lucky skill, or you want to run Vigilance as a lucky skill or something like that, I think that's pretty much the only... Well, no, not the only real use. You could obviously stack double adrenaline and it would be good, but I feel like this is just slotted in here for filler. Then again, most of the time it probably is for most sync pairs. Hit interference opponent, HP recovery 9, restoring HP when attacking a flinch, confused, or trapped opponent. This is just adding more to his health aspect, where he's able to recover HP from gradual healing with Team Sync regen, his potions, and now this. He's got even better healing ability for himself, so you can, focus on using potions on your allies. Very, very good. And then endurance, obviously, for just that extra tiny bit of bulk utility. I don't think it's going to be that helpful because he's already bulky enough. If this was like safety net, I think that's what it's called, it would definitely be far better. But obviously, just endurance for himself, I don't think is that impactful because he's already extremely, extremely bulky and unlikely to be able to be KO'd in most battle content. Air Cutter Staggering 3 is insane. This is where he actually gets absurd in his abilities. Like Anniversary Skyla, I overhype a lot just because of the staggering AoE flinching with her, as well as, of course, like her supporting ability, her decent nuke, that flying zone, that type of stuff. But the Air Cutter Staggering 3, being able to do a 40% flinch chance, combined with the guaranteed sleep of Dreamlike Hypnosis, just means you can do far better at preventing your enemies from making movement. And, of course, combined with the already amazing debuffing for attack into the special attack and buffing of defense and special defense, you are not taking damage. And if you do take damage, you're making sure it is not a lot. And, again, with how he is built with the sync regen, this ability, and the potions, you are able to heal up any minor damage that the enemy is able to do for you. It is quite literally, you have to do one big burst of damage, probably early on, or else you are not going to be able to KO the team with Falkner on it, right? So 3 out of 5 is definitely really good. 3 out of 5 is where I think Falkner actually gains most of his great ability, being able to finally buff offenses to some degree, have a lot better recovery with the potions and whatnot, and of course Staggering Air Cutter 3 is just such a powerful ability. Again, combine that Adrenaline 1, by the way, here with the turn denial of sleep and flinching here, and you can actually get a lot of sync countdown in as well. That's probably one of the bigger reasons on why Adrenaline could be good for him, and of course Head Start 1 or Adrenaline 1 as a lucky skill combined with that fact. If you don't really care too much about buffing team offense and it's not really your big priority with Falkner, you could probably go something like this if you want a true, defensively bulky character or whatever it may be. You could even, skip all of this stuff and just go for potions. If you really just want the potions, you can probably go for that. Obviously, probably just don't pick a Master Healer, I guess, or the PR or something like that. Whatever it may be, you can go for it. It'll work out for you just without problems. Probably, anyway. Yeah, honestly, something like that. You could definitely run a lot of different Falkner grids. I would say pretty much all of those Falkner grids really do want the staggering on Air Cutter. I think that's probably his single best ability in the grid. But of course, if you want to buff team physical attack, you can pick up this ability and then maybe pick up, the recovery for hitting interference opponents, or maybe go over and pick up this or something, whatever it may be. Doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, honestly, if you want to go for special attacks, same thing. You can go for this, go for Team Sync Regen, go for Adrenaline. You could go for a lot of different things. There's a lot of different ways to build Falkner's grid. I would just say that the Staggering node is probably his single best ability. Turn Denial is what this guy can do at best, and obviously being a support character doing it and not having a dedicated role for most tech characters, because Serena's a tech character, Sigma Suit Cyrus is a tech character, Sigma Suit Lyra is a tech character, Anniversary Skyla is a tech character. You actually have the bulk support prowess to back up your turn denial, so that in case an attack does get through, then it's not the worst thing in the world. And of course, you can prioritize buffing your stats and whatnot with this early on in the battle, and then you can prioritize using Air Cutter for flinches and the Dreamlike Hypnosis later in the battle, where you are done buffing stats with his trainer moves and whatnot, so it's actually not hindering your team at all to go for, your sleep, your flinch, whatever it may be. Whereas with, Serena, just spamming sleep or whatnot, you may sacrifice, the fire spin trapping, the overheat damage, her nuke maybe, buffing her stats with her own trainer moves and whatnot. Same thing for Sigma Suit Cyrus. That guy does way too much, You may sacrifice setting up Dark Zone, be able to buff your own stats as well, activating multipliers and doing a nuke. Stuff like that you may be sacrificing with some of those characters, but with Falkner here, it is pretty much embedded into his role. Buff defenses and whatnot early with the trainer move, and then start spamming Air Cutter for the attack buffing here, the staggering here, and then obviously whenever available, use Dreamlike Hypnosis, which will also debuff stats and raise a random stat of all allies and all of that as well. So very, very good, very fluid, I guess you could say is what the kit would be. He's very, very fluid in how he's able to function. Not clunky or anything, not like, I I guess, rough around the edges. Not really all like that. He's pretty simple, refined, and very, again, fluid. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Variety Falkner. Obviously, he's a Variety Scout, which can maybe take away the fact of wanting to pull for him for some people. I can definitely see it, and obviously the laziness of the Alton, whatever it may be. But just as a kit perspective, looking at him from how good he could be, I do think he could be very, very nice. Not up there with like top supports of, you know, I don't know, New Champion Blue, whatever it may be, but definitely still a good kit nevertheless, and definitely something that you could get a good bit of value on, especially if you do plan to invest in him with the candies and whatnot. So yeah, I'll see y'all later. I hope y'all enjoyed. That's my review for Variety, Falkner, and Noctowl. Let me know what you think about them down in the comments below, probably aside from the Variety Scout factor and whatnot, but yeah, I'll see y'all later.